record. Okay, so I am recording this meeting so that we can put this on our YouTube channel. So today we are working on the product of the month party. So the product of the month for the month of, oh, hello, I just went really big. Product of the month for the month of June is Niaouli. So today we're going to be doing a spray bottle, a brown sugar skin scrub, a clarity roller, and the spray is an Owie Spray. And then there's also a diffuser combination, which I'm not going to do online because I don't have a bigger dropper dram. So I will give that recipe though. It's super easy. It's just 3 oils. And I'll probably just start with that then. So if you take, Niaouli is the product of the month. And Niaouli is from the Melaleuca plant. It is very similar to Melaleuca or tea tree, except it is a little bit tamed down. So the smell isn't quite as harsh or strong, and it's not going to be as harsh on your skin. Where I'm using the word harsh, but I'm not meaning like it's going to be abrasive or anything like that. It's just a really stronger smell, and it's a stronger oil. So Niaouli and Melaleuca tea tree are all really good for your skin. So if you have skin yuckies, Melaleuca is a really good one. Tea tree is a good one. I use Melaleuca and tea tree interchangeably because the older bottles say Melaleuca on them still, but we're using a different species so from the Melaleuca plant. So now we are changing to tea tree. So the newer bottles are going to say tea tree. The old bottles say Melaleuca still. And I personally am finishing up my last Melaleuca. So you can see there's a little bit left in that bad boy, but not too much. But it does say Melaleuca tea tree. Yep. And Jessica says Melaleuca. So perfect. So when you get the newer kits or you order Melaleuca now, it's going to say tea tree. So Niaouli is from this, this is hair dye, not anything weird on my finger. Melaleuca, the Niaouli is from the Melaleuca plant. So you can see that in both of them. So
I just wanted to mention that it's very important. I know a lot of people used to use Melaleuca internally, which is not the proper way. Niaouli is not to be used internally. This is a aromatic or a not to be used internally.
So you don't see that supplement fact on it anymore.
Yeah.
So where it used to say supplement facts, it does not now. It just says the actual essential oil.
And Niaouli has never had the supplement facts because it's a different, it's a slightly different tree and a slightly different thing. And so we want to be really careful about how things are used. So just side note there.
Yep. And you can see the Niaouli says Melaleuca, something that starts with a Q. You can sound that out if you want. Quinquenervia, and then the Melaleuca tea tree says Melaleuca alternifolia, which means they're both from the Melaleuca plant, but different strains. So we're going to start off the diffuser blend, which I will comment in the comment sections, is Niaouli, Cassia, and Douglas Fir, equal parts of all 3. So when you're dropping them in your diffuser, if you use 3 drops of one, you use 3 drops of the other 2. If you want to make your own blend, you can do 1 part of each of them. So if you have 3 bottles, you can dump all 3 bottles into one big dropper bottle and call it a day, however you choose to do that. But that is one of the diffuser blends that we were given just to kick off the party. So next, I'm going to do the Owie Spray. So I have here a 30 ml spray bottle. It has just a plain bottle, and then it has the spray top. So that is what we're going to be using for this. And with the Owie Spray, we're going to be using Niaouli, because remember I said Niaouli is good for skin issues and owies. We're going to use lavender, which is a soothing oil. It's calming and soothing, and it helps relieve the owies. and helichrysum, which can be called a liquid Band-Aid. This is an oil Band-Aid. So it helps to cover the owie and kind of keep the bacteria and the gunk from getting into it. So we're going to do those three. It's going to be 10 drops of the Niaouli, 10 drops of lavender, and 5 drops of helichrysum. Now, this goes to show how a little goes a long way when you're using oils. So if you notice, I'm only using 10 drops and 5 drops in this big bottle because you do not need to use a ton of oils in each of them. So we're going to do, and I'm doing this on screen. So just take your bottle and the Niaouli, we're going to do 10 drops. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There you go. And it comes out pretty quick. Some of them come out painfully slow, like the trees, the vetiver and the patchouli, myrrh. They come out so painfully slow. And others come out really fast. So when you're dropping your drops, this is the lavender. And again, we're doing 10 drops of the lavender. So when you're dropping it, you want to start off just kind of tilt it slowly until 1, 2, you can see it come out. 4, 5, 6, 7.
While she's pouring that, I wanted to let you know that it's really tempting to put the bottle right against the other bottle that you're pouring it into. And what can happen is the drop, instead of it forming a droplet and dropping down, it starts collecting around the rim, so you don't know how many drops you put in. It's a common thing that happens when you first start experimenting with oils. You don't want to lose a drop, so you have it right next to the bottle, and that makes it impossible to count the drops. So having it slightly above really helps.
So yeah, right now it's touching, like she was saying. It also kind of just lets it stream out instead of drop out, like Patty was saying. So you want to have it up a little bit. You don't need to have it like all the way up here, otherwise you're gonna like spill. And I'm doing this over my keyboard, so I'm not gonna demonstrate a spill. So I keep mine just right above, but not where it's touching. And this is the helichrysum, and this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, if I accidentally got a 6th drop in, not a big deal. It's not, this is more cooking than baking is what I say. Because with cooking, you can experiment and throw like a dash of this and a pinch of that and like a lot of one thing. With baking, you kind of did have it right dead on, otherwise you're going to mess everything up. So this is more cooking than baking. So if you look in the bottom of this bottle, that's all the oil there is. So that was 10 drops of the Niaouli, 10 drops of lavender, and 5 drops of the helichrysum. So we are not putting a lot in there. Now, this is going to be an Owie spray for on your skin, which means I am going to use fractionated coconut oil. If this were a perfume that you would be spritzing in the air and walking through or spraying right onto yourself, you would want to have water, because you don't want this fractionated coconut oil getting on your clothes, because the coconut oil can stain. The oils normally don't. Wouldn't recommend spraying them straight onto your clothes, but you're better off using water when you do a perfume, fractionated coconut oil when you're doing it on your skin. And I'm just going, I have this neat little bottle that I can see it pulling up on. Also, when you're doing this is just a condiment jar that I got on Amazon. So like a mayo, mustard, ketchup bottle thing that you put the stuff in. It comes empty. And I buy a big jug of fractionated coconut oil and use that and pour it into this so that I have just this little bit on hand and I don't have to grab my big jug of oil and try to get a big jug into a little hole. So
while she's pouring that, I wanted to say that I like to use different types of oils than just coconut. Coconut oil kind of drives me nuts a little bit. I know a lot of people love it.
It's the generic one.
I am weird. I don't like chocolate either, but that's a whole nother subject.
White chocolate.
Yeah. So as long as it's a food grade oil, you're going to be okay.
Yep.
So the
no more
coconut
oil. Don't put more oil on it.
But there's also the chemical processed oils and all sorts of other stuff out there that's not, if it says not ingestible, don't put it on your skin.
And I have jojoba and there's one other over there, and Patty likes using avocado oil, right?
Yeah, I like using avocado and almond oil.
I
So
like the almond.
Yeah. So those are really good if you're doing it for yourself, like personal, because they're a little bit more expensive. I personally I do a lot of rollerballs. So this is my bottle of coconut oil, my fractionated coconut oil. Bigger than my head. So I use that to put into my condiment jar, to put into my little bottles. There's also, when we do a the skinny jeans challenge. So the skinny jeans challenge is something that we're going to be doing in the future, and it's probably going to be in one of our boxes. We'll talk about that later. But when we do that, this is MCT oil, which is coconut oil that is safe for internal use. The fractionated coconut oil is not for internal use. It's safe for skin. So like Patty was saying, food grade. It's safe for your skin. It's safe for to have on your body with infants, adults, and anybody in between. But not for when you're doing like veggie cap or the other stuff. So MCT is what we use on that. Just another one that we do. So Owie Spray is done, and it looks pretty cool. It looks like nothing in there. But that was, again, 10 Niaouli, 10 lavender, and 5 helichrysum. So the next one we're going to do, Patty, go ahead.
Before you go on to the next one, when you want to label things, there's a couple different ways that you can label them. You can use regular masking tape and then tape over it with Scotch tape. That seems to be the cheapest way.
Packing tape.
Packing tape. The other way is to go ahead and use the little dots, you know, those dots that come with it. You can also put those on your oils and then put packing tape over it. It's a simple way. You just want to make sure that you do mark your bottles, because then you're going to end up like me otherwise, with a whole bunch of bottles and no label on them, and you have to smell them to remember what they are.
And you can't really write on the bottles themselves, because even with a Sharpie marker on that bottle, the oil will rub the Sharpie marker off. So I was going to do this after, but thank you for telling me this, because I'm going to do this now.
Normally, I have these little labels that I got off of Amazon. They were pretty cheap, but you can't really see them on camera, but they say like wellness, sniffles, tummy.
Oh, cool. Oh, so they're pre-done.
They're pre-done. And it gives you instructions on how to properly put them on. I think it says like take rubbing alcohol and clean the bottle, make sure there's no residue, and then you just rub it on with like a card or your hand or something.
It's like a decal type thing.
I think I got it off of Amazon for like $6. And there's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 20 labels.
Awesome. So Avery label 6570 is also, this is oil resistant. This is what I use when I do my my rollerball sets. So the ones that have like the printed labels and stuff like that is on this. So I'm gonna do Owie Spray, just so I remember, and I'll make it look prettier next time, or when I print it out. And then you just stick that right on there, and it's as easy as that. I mean, it's super simple. So next we are going to do the clarity roller. So this one, so also with Owie Spray, Patty, do you have your Correctex handy? I left mine in the bathroom.
I'll go get it.
Okay. So with the Owie Spray, this has Niaouli, lavender, and helichrysum, which is good for, Niaouli is good for cleaning, lavender is good for relaxing or soothing. And then the helichrysum is the poor man's rose, Jessica. So helichrysum you can get with points, rose you cannot. And that's something poor Jessica and Patty both found out the hard way. They can't use their points for the rose. Rose is an amazing one for everything. You're muted. You're muted. I see your mouth moving, but nothing's coming.
Oh, I said I at least have my rose touch, so I can live a little bit longer.
Yep. So helichrysum is the poor man's rose that you can use points on, and helichrysum has amazing healing properties as well. So it helps stop bleeding faster. It helps with cleaning or with healing the owie and scars. It keeps them from being too icky. So the reason why I'm asking Patty to grab the Correct X is because Correct X is kind of like a bacitracin ointment, I think is what it's called. It's the stuff that you put on like a antibiotic ointment that you can put on there to clean the wound, and then you put your Band-Aid over it. So you're going to spray.
I think you're right. I think it's bacitracin.
Yeah, I think that's what it's called. I've never used it, so I don't know. I've always had.
I've used it for like irritations, like scrapes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
I've heard some people use it for burns. I don't know if you're actually supposed to use it for burns.
So lavender is amazing for burns. And then it says after you put your Owie Spray on, then you can put some of the Correct X on. If you can't find it, it's all good. The Correct X just comes in a little tube that you can, it's an ointment that you put over the Owie. So we have the Owie Spray that goes on, and then you can put some Correct X over it.
So I also have this in my first aid kit. It's rose.
Mm-hmm.
And I use that for scrapes and anything that might scab up or scar up. I use that, and it helps lessen the chance of scars. For my experience has shown, let's be compliant. My experience has shown, I found out that it helped reduce scarring.
And then the helichrysum is the poor man's version of the rose. So next we're going to do the clarity roller, and the clarity roller has Niaouli, of course, and then peppermint and pink pepper. So peppermint and pink pepper. Now this is going to go into a roller ball. So a roller ball is just a glass. This is actually plastic, but it's oil safe plastic, and we don't have any of the citrus oils. Make sure when you're using the sprays, you want to have glass. If you have any kind of citrus in them, you want to make sure they're glass, because there are certain oils that or certain spray bottles that are safe for oils, but for the most part, just to be on the safe side, glass is your best bet. If you don't know, go with glass, because the citrus oils pull the impurities out. So when you're drinking your lemon, you want to have a stainless steel or glass or ceramic cup, and same with a straw. If you're drinking through a straw, you want to have a stainless steel straw, because they'll start pulling the impurities out of whatever it is that's there, and it'll break down your cup. So if you put a drop of lemon on styrofoam, it'll start eating up the styrofoam and put a hole into it, because it's taking away the impurities. It's trying to make it all better, and styrofoam is gross. So it takes away all the grossness. Were you gonna say something?
Yeah. Actually, also the thing to remember, if you're using oils on your skin that have citrus on them, try to avoid sunlight right away, because sensitive skin, it allows the UV lights to intensify. It likes to intensify those UV lights. So whenever I'm using something like that, I usually use them on the bottom of my feet or beneath where my hair will be hiding it, because then I know that I'm pretty safe.
And we don't have any of these, so we're safe with these guys. So for the clarity roller, we have the glass roller ball, and then pink pepper and peppermint. So peppermint, it has that supplement back on it, so it is safe for internal use. And this is a good one for all sorts of fun things, but today we're doing it for the clarity roller. And then pink pepper also, if you notice, it has the supplement facts. So as long as it has supplement facts, if you accidentally get some in your mouth, you're fine. They might not taste the greatest, but they're not going to kill you. Haha, we hope, fingers crossed. We are not doctors, and we are not here to give medical advice. And that is our disclaimer. We are not here to say that oils prevent, cure, or treat any disease, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So anyways, back to the show. So we're going to, Patty likes to make sure I get that in there, and if I don't, she will. So we're going to take the Niaouli, and Niaouli is 6 drops. Now, the opening to the spray bottle was bigger than the opening to the roller ball. I've done this before, so I know what I'm doing, but there are, These are pipettes. Yep, there you go. And they'll be going, pipettes will be included in our boxes. So if you're not comfortable dropping it right into it, those will be coming with them. So we're going to do 6 drops of Niaouli. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And remember, if 7 gets in there, not a big deal. And then we have 4 of the peppermint. And I love peppermint's my favorite. I love peppermint. So 4 of peppermint. Comes out slower. 1, 2, 3, 4. Come on, 4. Oh, see, I got 5. It knows it's my favorite, so it knows it can drop another one in. It's not going to hurt anybody. And then we're just going to do 2 of the pink pepper. So pink pepper, it doesn't really even smell like black pepper. It's from the same plant, but it has a less overpowering smell. It's kind of like Niaouli to Melaleuca, to the tea tree. So it's from the same plant. It just doesn't have as strong a smell as the black. So we're just going to do 2. 1, 2. Oh, we got a 3rd one in there. Now it wanted to be like peppermint. It's all good. So you know what I'm going to do? Just because I can, just to show you that we can, I'm going to take Niaouli and put another drop of Niaouli in. Because, you know, we got an extra drop of peppermint. We got an extra drop of pink pepper. So, bam. We got an extra drop of the Niaouli too. And that's okay. So with this one, now, I'm taking, again, my condiment jar with the fractionated coconut oil. The way we're going to do this, Dylan, shut the door, please. The way we're going to do this is I'm going to actually lean it on and then bring it in so that it doesn't squirt oil anywhere. And I'm going to get it almost all the way to the top.
She does not do it completely to the top. That's something that you always want to remember. Do not do it completely to the top.
So if you notice, that one's not completely to the top. That one's not completely to the top. So when you're putting your roller in or you're putting your spray bottle in, it doesn't squirt up. So normally I don't use one of these, but just to show what they do, this is a key and this is really cool. So this is the roller top. It has a little ball in it that will roll. And this goes into there. Then there's a small hole, a really small hole, and a big hole. You just lay that over the top of that, and it helps pop that lid on really nicely. And then you don't get indents in your thumb from going like, or in your whatever this area, palm, from crunching it down. And then you take the lid, and voila, that easy. And there is the clarity roller. Now the clarity is called the clarity roller because it helps focus. Pink pepper is really good for focus, and peppermint is amazing for focus. So we're going to call this the clarity roller. And again, I'm just scribbling it on this until I can change the label and make it look prettier. And then you can put it this way, or you can put it this way, whichever way you want. It's a personal preference. There are some that are that look nicer if they're one way or the other, but in general, it doesn't really matter. So now you can see that is clarity roller with my lovely handwriting. Woo, looks like Fiddler. So now in that time of me chatting and doing it, we've already made a spray and a roller ball. 2 things already using 4 oils, 5 oils. We've used 5 oils. So we've used the Niaouli in both because obviously it's product of the month. And then we have the lavender and helichrysum in one, and the pink pepper and peppermint in the other. And it's that easy. And then
if you include the diffuser blend that we talked about, that was another 2 oils.
Mm-hmm. And we're going to add 2 more to the skin scrub. Okay, so I didn't have a spiffy glass bottle, so I'm using this. And this has already put in it. I have half a cup of brown sugar. I have Annika is going to be coming in just a minute. So, oh my gosh, that smells. I love brown sugar. I just grabbed my light brown. I have light brown and dark brown. I don't think it really matters. It's personal preference. So we have a half a cup of brown sugar, and then we're going to do.
Yeah, the darker the brown, the more molasses is in it. That's the only difference. So it depends on how heavy you want to go with the molasses.
I'm on a live, babe. What's up? Okay, love you. So we have a light brown here, and it's going to be 1 tablespoon of the fractionated coconut oil, and then 5 drops each of the Niaouli, which again is good for skin. So this is a skin scrub. It's good for skin. And then we're going to have frankincense, which is the king of oils. And this is amazing for your skin. And frankincense is also essential oil supplements. So this is safe for internal use. So if you want to eat this, you can. Can't guarantee how good it's going to be. And it's going to have the fractionated coconut oil, so I wouldn't suggest it. But if you want to scrub it on your face, you can do that. And then tea tree melaleuca. So the melaleuca, if you look at the bottle, the melaleuca does have the supplement facts. So the old melaleuca was safe for internal use, but they kind of tweaked where they got it. Remember, we have the old melaleuca with the place that you can pronounce, that alter vanilla, whereas the Niaouli now has that Q one that you can't really pronounce. So they've changed it just enough that they are now taking off the supplement label.
Well, it's also the thing is, even if it has a supplement label on, you use it judiciously. On the back, it tells you how much you need to dilute it when you drink it. They were finding a lot of people were just, taking shots of that stuff, and that's not the directions. The directions
Right.
was 1 drop in 4 ounces of water, and they weren't following that direction. So I think it's important to remember that even though something is safe, use it safely so it remains safe. Look at the instructions. That's the most important thing that I can take away from ingesting any of these oils. They're good for you if they're used well.
Right. So we're going to do 5 drops each of the melaleuca, the Niaouli, the tea tree, the Niaouli, and the frankincense. So if you notice, we have both the tea tree and the Niaouli going into this. So you have the heavier smelling one and the lighter smelling one going in together. So for the camera, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And did you notice it came out a little fast and then it went back to normal? That's okay. And then we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And frankincense, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, it's your preference how you want to put this in. If you want to put the fractionated coconut oil in first and then the oils, or if you want to put the oils and then the coconut oil, doesn't really matter. It's not going to be the end of the world if you put it in the opposite way of somebody else. And also with the tablespoon of fractionated coconut oil, I'm going to fill this up, but I'm going to put it in slowly. And when you get to the consistency that you like, stop. So you might like it a little bit more liquidy. So you can put in the whole 1 tablespoon. If you like it a little less, put in less. So I'm just going to pour in about half a tablespoon right there.
Viscosity is up to you. What kind of viscosity you want?
Viscosity.
Or Sherry calls it liquidy.
Liquidy. And then I have a knife that I'm just going to kind of mush it around in. I am a texture person, and there are certain textures that I really don't like. And I should probably have my daughter do this because she doesn't mind the viscosity of this stuff. But I do. I don't like viscosity stuff. So I'm going to add the other part of the coconut oil and then keep going. And then I'm just going to kind of mash it up. I might put my finger in again, but probably not. So once this is done, you're just going to use it like a regular sugar scrub, this body scrub, and get it on your, this really doesn't look like it's doing much, but you know what? I don't really use this stuff, so I don't know. It looks like that. So however you want to do it.
You can also make it more creamy when you add water to it. When you're actually doing the washing, you can add a little bit more water to it to make it more fluid if you want. Yeah. It's easier to add more liquid than it is to get it less liquid.
And that's why I started off with just that half a tablespoon, because the last time I watched somebody do this, she put way too much in and it made a mess. So I'm learning from her mistake. And so that, my friends, is the sugar scrub. So I'm gonna put the lid on this so it doesn't get all over the place. And if you have any questions or anything like that that you want to ask in the comments, feel free. Otherwise, there you go. Jessica, which one do you want?
The Owie Spray.
The Owie Spray? Alrighty, got it.
So these are new for us to start doing, but every time we do these, chances are if you join us for the lives, you may get one of the things that we make. It's really that easy. Join us, get stuff.
No, I'm excited because sad to say, my son and I are very clumsy prone. So we are constantly getting bumps and bruises and stuff. So I'm like, yeah, I totally want that Owie Spray.
Yeah. And yes, ma'am, I heard you on that because I am right up there with you. So I'm putting my oils back. But so Jessica, what, you haven't got your Niaouli yet, but once you do,
I think it was, when did I talk to them? Yesterday? I think I talked to them yesterday, so I should get it probably by the weekend, maybe, depending on how long it is with the postal people.
Yeah, very cool. So then Niaouli Cassia, which is kind of a toned down cinnamon. It's a sweeter smelling cinnamon. And then Douglas Fir. I don't have Douglas Fir, so I was going to sub it with Siberian Fir. But I think the cool thing about Niaouli versus the tea tree is it does have that more mellow smell. And so it's not as overpowering as the Melaleuca. And it kind of blends nicer with these other smells. Like when I was doing these three, it doesn't, it's not an overwhelming. And it wasn't until I put the tea tree into this that I could really smell it. So I was still smelling the
I think the word you were looking for earlier is pungent.
Pungent, yes. Oh, I like that. I got two big words today, pungent and viscosity. So, woohoo.
We're building her vocabulary.
Yeah. So, yay. Well, I appreciate you coming on with us, Jessica, and I will get the Owie Spray to you tomorrow. Yay. And yeah, so I'll hang it on your door like I do. I feel like the Easter Bunny when I go to Jessica's house because I go up there and I leave stuff on her porch or on the door, and then I like run off and then wait for her to like open it up and see. But yeah, I have to work tomorrow, so I will get that to you. Awesome. So I am going to end the recording now. So thank you all, everybody, for joining us.